Hello and thanks for tuning in. This video will be an overview for trainers and cover the aspects of the LMS trainers should familiarise themselves with before logging on. When you do log in, you'll come to the dashboard and you'll have access to all the units you're enrolled into on the centre of your screen. To access a unit, you can just click on the unit's tile. You'll see its title, its code, an image to accompany it, and a short description of what the unit entails. As you scroll down, you'll see the digital learner guides, quizzes, which are just question and answer tasks, assignments, which require students to upload a document to the LMS, and checklists, where trainers mark students off against a list of criteria. When trainers wish to grade a student in one of these assessments, they should return to the dashboard, because the dashboard on the right-hand side is home to the DLR items for grading panel. This feature is really valuable to trainers because it contains a list of all the assessments that have been uploaded to the system that are yet to be graded. So if we click this blue button, Load Outstanding Items, a list will generate. And this list contains all the submissions that have been handed in that require grading. When it loads, we'll see all the units that have received submissions, the assessments that have been handed in, and if we click on the assessment's name, we see the student who made that submission. To mark an assignment task from the DLR Items for Grading panel, simply click on the student's name. Their attempt will open and we can read and assess their work. After we've done so, we can select a grade, simply out of satisfactory or not yet satisfactory. To give the student feedback on their work, we could type in some feedback comments or download their attempt, annotate it in an application of your choice, and then re-upload it to the LMS with your notes attached. Before we save our changes, we need to decide whether to allow another attempt. If the student was marked not yet satisfactory for this assessment, we want to make sure we select yes to allow another attempt, so the student can try again and eventually earn a satisfactory grade. If the student is satisfactory, a second attempt is not necessary, and we can simply save changes. As a result, that attempt will be removed from the DLR Items for Grading panel as it has now been graded, much like a to-do list where you cross off an item. To mark a quiz off the DLR Items for Grading panel, once again, select the assessment and just click on the student's name. We'll be taken to their quiz attempt where we can see the question that was asked, their response, and also the marking guide to the question. So for question 1, we can see the question here. We would compare their response to the marking guide. We can see there's a clear lack of information here. We'd have to tick this one as incorrect, and then we can type in some feedback based on their performance. As you can see, every question contains a yellow marking guide to inform the trainer's grading of the assessment. When you have marked every single question, you can navigate to the bottom of the screen and click Submit Grades. This will lock in your assessment of the task and update any relevant reports. Once again, we can see that assessment has been removed from the DLR Items for Grading panel as well. However, there might be some assessments where students aren't required to submit their work to the LMS. You might be assessing work they did in class, offline, or in the simulated workplace. In these instances, navigate to the unit the student is completing. Scroll down to the assessment they've done, select it, and scroll down to the View All Submissions grey button. Even though these students didn't make a submission on the LMS, we can still allocate them a grade based on the work they did offline. Click the blue grade button, open up this grading screen, and select the grade that best describes their performance. Or, if you're assessing a checklist which doesn't require a student submission because it's your observation of a practical task, again, click on the assessment. Now, in this blue bar, click View Progress. Scroll down the page to where we find the grey button Edit Checks. And we can mark the students you observed based on the task's criteria. There are plenty of automated features when marking a checklist, as you can toggle by row or toggle by column. So if every student successfully confirmed cheese requirements, we could toggle the column to yes. If this not yet satisfactory student was unable to perform any task, we could toggle the row to select no. Or of course, if students perform differently for different skills, we could write yes or no based on their individual performance. Mark the checklist accordingly, and press save when you're done. After you grade your assessments, this will of course impact the reporting of the unit. One notable report you have access to is the completion report, available on the right hand side of every unit. Simply click here for the completion report, and the report will open, and we can see the students' progress through the unit depending on how they've gone in each assessment. As we can see, this satisfactory student has completed all assessments and is now competent in the unit. We can see this partially satisfactory student has completed one assessment, and we'll have a couple more to go before they're competent in the unit too, and the same goes for the not yet satisfactory student and the almost satisfactory student. When they receive a satisfactory grade in all compulsory assessments, they will have completed the course and get this final tick in this rightmost column. You can also export this report in an Excel compatible format. Another report you might be interested in is the Didasko Grader report, which you can find by clicking the Didasko Grader button in the top white strip. As we scroll down, we once again see the student's status through each assessment, much like we did in the completion report, except this time we can see whether the student has submitted the assessment or not. We can see whether the assessment is not yet submitted, submitted but awaiting grading, graded and satisfactory, or graded and not yet satisfactory. And these options are all color-coded as well, just for the user's convenience. The final thing I think trainers should be familiar with is the Participants tab, also found in the blue bar at the top of the screen. Here's where they will see the students that are enrolled into their group, and you can select certain filters to narrow your search. We could filter by the user's role or their groups, or we could type in the student's initials to see that student appear. We can see their course role, the group they are in, and the last time they accessed the unit. Thank you for watching. We hope you found the video to be helpful.